Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I'm Chris Puckett coming at you from the MLG New York City studios, and I'm joined now by the studio design director from Treyarch Studios, Mr. David Vonderhaar. Von, how you doing, buddy? I love that t-shirt.
Hey, I'm awesome, man. Thank you for calling me up.
Dude, I'm so happy to have you on the show. We've had a blast here in New York so far. Had a chance of checking out all the maps, Dig, Frost, Pod, Takeoff. And now I want to pick your brain a little bit farther about this. And tell me, Courtyard, it was such an immensely popular map in World at War. Whose thought was it to bring it back for Black Ops 2? I'm sure you're going to make a lot of fans happy with this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's the battle for a good idea goes on all the time, but Dig is truly a spiritual successor to Courtyard from our game Call of Duty World at War. The team really wanted to bring this map back because this was really one of the first maps that the current team, the current structure of the multiplayer level design team worked on together. So it was a lot of fun for them to kind of go back to where they began as a group of people and individuals, apply some of the lessons that they've learned sort of along the way of making maps. But this is also not the same exact map. We've learned a lot along the way. You can find when you're playing that these lanes have been cleaned up. These engagements are a lot clearer. The sight lines are a lot more conducive to head-on battles. That center structure has been raised to kind of prevent you from getting shot across the map. And because we moved the location to Afghanistan and this map takes place in the desert, that gives us a great reason to sort of blow up all that foliage that was in there, making the sort of center area a lot harder to camp just sort of outright.
Yeah, I absolutely love the gameplay we saw on this. We saw capture the flag, we saw search and destroy as well, and I think it plays really well for almost all the guns we saw. The snipers looked awesome. We saw assault rifles as well as SMGs being very effective. When you guys were doing your testing, what was your favorite weapon to use, and what was your favorite game mode for the new map?
Yeah, Dig is a paradise internally for SMGs and shotguns internally. And the quick reflexes will sort of rule the day because it's a very small map, all things considered. But that long-range combat, you saw it come out in the stream for people who don't have a lot of experience with the maps. When you can get up top, build that elevation, and this sort of longer-range combat kind of opens itself up for people. People who can use that height and the map edges to their advantage can sort of take what would normally be a very SMG shotgun-friendly map and sort of expand its wealth of kind of range. And those are some places you couldn't really get to in Courtyard, but you can get to in Dig.
Yeah, I really like how the SMG guys, they can put on their fast class. They can navigate through kind of the trenches and through kind of the small alleyways here. But the assault rifle guys, we saw a number of them getting on top of the map like you talked about. There's so many different places that you can be on this map and do damage from, and there's plenty of cover. So I feel like the pros, they're going to adapt to this map extremely well. I feel like the casual players out there, they're going to love it just as much. But that's just the first of 4 maps we saw in Dig. The second map that we most recently saw was Frost. Now, Frost takes us to Amsterdam, David, and talk to me a little bit about the thought process behind this map. This one is totally unique. What was the team's vision coming into Frost in Amsterdam?
So Frost is an urban environment. It's snow-covered streets and that frozen-over canal. So for us, with a very origin-style theme, going back to where we started, this map can really play homage to that kind of classic World at War II roots with that sort of European architecture. But that frozen canal kind of along the center line offers, a good little twist to that typical experience when players are sort of cutting from one side of the map to the other quickly, but it's also pretty risky because you have the low ground and you often have to mantle to kind of get out of there. And good snipers can sort of troll that canal pretty hard by hanging out below those bridges.
Right.
But for us, we really wanted to emphasize that sort of your side, my side, with that canal clearly splitting the map in half. That dock area and center bridge has got that sort of longer engagements that can be held down. But that third path, you have to watch that closely with those shorter engagements, prevent someone from flanking to your side.
And I really love how you can jump up on the boats to the middle bridge as well. We saw BL Fire use that perfectly to take over the center bridge control. It seems like it played really well. We saw Hardpoint on this. Have not had a chance to see Capture the Flag or even Search and Destroy on this map yet. But do you have a personal preference when it comes to game modes on Frost?
Yeah, I think we are still really big Hardpoint fans internally, but in this case, I think domination is about as choke point heavy as you're going to get in a map like this. I don't want to bum anybody out, but we actually tried to get that center bridge to sort of move up and down like a real Amsterdam drawbridge would work, and it was cutting off the pathing really aggressively and was forcing us to put objectives like that B-Dom flag sort of below. That doesn't accommodate the traffic moving perpendicular. We just love a good head-on firefight. And it was really fun to lower the bridge and then anticipate that combat, right? Because like the bridge is coming, let's go. And in the end, it's like the purity of taking a team and smashing them into another team is really what that map is all about, with the two very split evenly sides.
Well, Frost was absolutely awesome to watch. I think everyone is going to enjoy this one as well. I think if I'm playing on this map, I'm going to want to go with an assault rifle, but definitely one that has a whole lot of bullets in the magazine, because we saw all kinds of people just swarming across that bridge. But let's keep it moving as we talk about Pod. Now, Pod, I did some Googling, I watched some YouTube videos, and apparently something might have happened like this in Asia. What can you tell me about this failed utopian society?
Yeah, this is a fun story, really. Most maps, when we start designing them, they'll just often start off as sort of an interesting space that we think would be to have a gun battle in. And that's about it. It's like, oh, there's a place we haven't been to. Oh, that could be fun to have a gun battle in. So, Pod actually started off, and it was supposed to be a resort, a kind of a fancy hotel. And then when we got in and we started playing that, we're like, well, all hotel rooms look the same. How are you going to know where you went? And one of the map builders, Thomas, he had just temporarily kind of mocked in some communal stuff, like a communal toilet and a communal kitchen. And that sort of lend itself kind of sort of evolved from there. We're just talking it through, and we're like, oh man, what would be awesome is if this was sort of some kind of egomaniac's attempt to build his perfect utopian city. And then from there, we're like, oh man, it'd be really amazing if he ran out of money during construction and then the whole thing was abandoned. And then someone's like, wow, that'd be really awesome if that happened 40 years in the past in our timeline, right? So these things kind of just sort of pile on top of each other, and Pod has got this sort of, this pretty kind of radical architecture mixed with this sort of overgrowth because it's been around a while, mixed with the construction supplies because it was never finished, mixed with these squatters kind of had moved in and lived in there, and all those things kind of come together, and it's a very, very super organic process. I remember quite literally walking over to Phil's office, he's the lead level builder, and I'm like, where is this place? It's got to be some kind of like weirdo's attempt to build his perfect city, and he's like, that's awesome, let's do that. And that's what we did, and that's how these things often go.
It's really cool. I actually absolutely love how on one side of the map you can just see the drop off a cliff. In fact, we saw, I think it was Team Martin who fell to his death over there. Also some pits there in the middle of the map. You can definitely tell that it's up high, and when it comes down to gameplay, that middle street has so many epic battles between the two bunkers, as well as trying to get down the street using the Humvees for cover. So after my first experience with Pod, I give it 2 thumbs up. But let's move it on to the 4th map, David. Let's talk about Takeoff. Now, this map, we saw it as Stadium in the past in Black Ops 1. You guys brought it back, totally reskinned it, and you put a space shuttle on it. Talk to me about Takeoff.
Right. The fiction of Takeoff is that there's this company called Intergalactic, and they would love to send people into orbit for a very small fee, of course. And Takeoff is a remade version of Stadium. Stadium was in First Strike. That was the first DLC for the original Black Ops. Now, I got to tell you, as a 5-game Call of Duty developer veteran, it's hard to surprise me on anything anymore. But Stadium was this very abnormally popular map for a DLC map. It was voted in twice as much as any kind of other map. So it seemed really fitting for us to end the last map pack for Call of Duty Black Ops 2 right where we started with the first map pack for Black Ops, and then give the fans the Takeoff experience. So this layout's going to be familiar to people, but I don't think it plays exactly like Stadium. I actually think it plays a lot better. The original map had a lot of similar looking areas, so we decided to improve the navigability of that map. It's got this really strong color coding. We actually specifically called out the names of each building. This is something that's, I think, always fun for the game battles crowd that you have. We actually straight up put the names of the buildings over them. We're like, this is the health center, right? Plain English, right above the door.
Giving us call outs out of the box. Thank you.
It won't even matter. I know you MLG types, you're going to create your own call outs anyway and make up your own terms for these things. players who know this map are going to be able to get around quite quickly. It's very important to game types like hardpoint. I love that center fountain. I love circling the fountain, playing that kind of mini game there.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, 3 of the 4 hardpoints in this map are inside, so those airborne score streaks are not going to have the same play. But most of these buildings also have 3 or 4 kind of ways in, so they're not exactly easy to hold down without some good teamwork, right? And of course, Takeoff, you got to have the rocket taking off if you're a Treyarch Call of Duty map maker.
Of course, gotta love the rockets. And then finally on this map, we saw Assassin, T. Martin, also BL Fire, the tops. They seemed so strong at first in the first 5 minutes of gameplay, but then the SMG guys learned where the fire was coming from, able to handle it. I love how it's multi-level in this map. You can go up, down, across, and like you said, all of the action inside of the building and non-stop firefights here on Takeoff. Vaughn, I gotta ask you, man, I have to give Dig my favorite out of the 4 maps after just an hour and a half of gameplay. But after working with these maps for several weeks, do you have a favorite of the 4? What's Vaughn's favorite to play on?
Listen, I have a favorite only because, you know, this team of individuals who has worked so hard over the last year to build all of this DLC content. You know, Dig has sort of a spiritual kind of place for us, right? It's hard to describe for us, but we got together as a group of people who make multiplayer games for Call of Duty at World at War. That team has been together all this time through World at War, through Black Ops, and through Black Ops 2. So it's sort of like a nice little send-off and a good way to say goodbye.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate all the hard work that the Treyarch Studios teams have put in. Brand new maps. Make sure you guys get them on August 27th. This Tuesday they drop, but they're not just coming with multiplayer maps. It's also got a whole new horde of zombies. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, here is the re-airing, the intro from Origins.
It began long ago, on the battlefields of the Great War. 2 German scientists sought to harness dark and mysterious forces buried for centuries. They believed their discoveries would assure Germany's ultimate victory. What they could never have imagined was just what else their research would unearth. As an ancient evil ravaged the front lines, the hopes of the Allies rested on 3 soldiers sent to stop it.
Let's take a moment and embrace the ice. So my intentions are known. See, I have pity in watching you suffer. I know the feeling of being damned alone. I got a storybook of my own. Don't you see I am pride? Ages of war, better me.
My name is Samantha. I'm going to tell you how all this really began.
Samantha is going to tell us how it all really began. The final words from that cinematics. Avenged Sevenfold is back. Zombies are back. I just got chills, Vaughn. I know all the fans are super excited, and we don't want to have any spoilers here on the show, but what should fans be looking out for on Tuesday when the DLC package drops? And Vaughn, hold on 1 second. I think I unplugged you. I'm going to plug you back in magically. You ready? Magic. Is magic happening? Give me a test. 2. He's back. All right. I'm sorry. So once again, on Tuesday, Vaughn, what is the special treat? What should everyone be looking out for in Origins, the new zombie mode?
We looked at Origins. It is an end-over-end look at the Zombies game. It starts with this sort of diesel punk-themed view of the First World War, the Great War, and one possible view of how the Zombies universe came to be. Approximately 1 million people text us every single day, send us tweets.
Oh no, we just lost David, unfortunately. Our call just dropped there, but you saw the giant robot guys. You saw Nikolai and the boys. They will be back. We don't want to spoil any Easter eggs for you guys. We don't want to ruin the story mode. You'll have to play it for yourself on Tuesday. Origins, the new zombie mode, is going to be absolutely amazing. We want to thank David Vonderhaar for coming on the show. We'll talk to him hopefully a little bit later. Send him your tweets. Appreciate everything that he's been doing as much as I am, because it's phenomenal what we have coming for us on Tuesday with the Apocalypse DLC package. Guys, we're going to go to a short commercial break. When we come back, more Apocalypse DLC 4 live from the MLG studios.